Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and today we're going to be doing our first video on OP06, and of course we're going to start off with a banger, that banger being Gekko Moria. So we're going to break down the best cards in the deck, why they're used, and talk about some of the interactions. And yeah, I do want to say that before we get into this, we're setting a like goal for 200 for the Start of I OP06 breakdown, and also letting you guys know to stay tuned because I will be live streaming my Treasure Cup run this weekend, this Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, hosted by PPG. And so yeah, you guys can come over here to check out that stream if you want to. And yeah, with that being said, let's hop into the breakdown for Gekko Moria. So let's right now put Gekko Moria on the screen. You can see the leader. He is a black monocolor leader, 5 life, and the thing that you need to understand is that this deck is all about no wasted resources. The cards you combo, or sorry, cards you counter out of your hand get used for later. The cards that get destroyed off the field are used for later, and there's kind of this like big revolving recycling circle that happens with this deck. So let's talk about the leader. You get Dawn X1, when attacking, pay 2. So that is hefty. That is a 3 Dawn investment. However, you discard 1 card from your hand, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the trash, and you play 1 Thriller Bark Pirates character with a cost of 4 or less from the trash. So this is the initial kickoff effect. The moment you get to 3 Dawn, which if you're going first is going, I mean, either way, it's going to be your second turn. You're going to be able to swing for 6 and then tap 2 in order to bring back something. And granted, yes, you're going to be trashing the top 2 of your deck, but you can always put a target from your hand with the discard effect, which is why it's worded that way. It's going to take 1 card out of your hand, but you're going to be able to play a card. So first, we're going to move over and check out the first couple of cards that are going to be brought back by this effect. They do have to be a Thriller Bark Pirate, so let's look at the top suspects. 1, you have Perona. Perona is a 2K, making her very, very easy to defend you and set up for the Gekko Moria play. But on play, if your opponent has 5 more cards in their hand, you can choose one of the following. You can either make your opponent discard a card, they get to choose, unfortunately, or give up to one of your opponent's characters -3 for the turn. Now, if you're using Gekko Moria to do this effect, you are using 3 Dawn to play a 4-drop. And you're also going to be minus something by 3, allowing you to have 7 Dawn left over to play whatever other cards you would like. So this is going to lead into some of the things we're going to do later. Now, this is just, like I said, pretty good, being a 2K counter, as well as having these variable effects. Also later in the game, in a simplified game state, you will be able to activate this effect to just pick at your opponent's hand, even when they have a low amount of cards in hand, which is very, very nice. The next one is another 4 cost. This is Absalom, and Absalom says on play you may return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of the deck in any order, KO up to 1 character with a cost of 2 or less. So when you play Perona from grave, if you want to reduce a 5k or a 5 cost down to a 2 cost and then tap 4 for Absalom, you're adding 2 bodies onto the board, both 5k, so they're able to go neutral with leader, but you're also, you know, KOing something off the board while doing this. So this is actually pretty cool. Absalom returning 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck is going to help you not deck out, and a strategy that's going to be milling as far as this. And as you guys know, when your strategy is milling and then you're drawing as well and maybe searching, but then you're also putting cards back in the bottom of your deck, you can start to remember the order to know how your deck's going to cycle. The next card is going to be Dr. Hogback. Dr. Hogback is another 4 cost. Return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Put up to 1 Thriller Bark card other than Dr. Hogback from your trash to your hand. This is actually an amazing card, and it is going to be fishing cards like your Absalom if you want more destruction, like your Perona if you want a 2K again. So these are the 3 core cards that Moria is going to bring back. You always want to have access to these cards so you can basically use them as best you can. But yeah, whether you discard them off Moria's effect or you're just dropping them into the trash with by countering, these are the targets that are going to be brought out with his effect. But then we're getting to the Big Daddy. This card is not only good in this deck, it's a black staple as of set 6. It is going right into Sakazuki, it's going into these Gekko Moria decks, but you've got 8-drop Gekko Moria, and that says on play, choose up to 1 cost 4 or less and up to 1 cost 2 or less character from your trash. Play one of them and then play the remaining rested. So you get to choose which one comes in untapped and tapped, and that is the biggest thing about this card. Now, some of you guys may have noticed, while Gekko Moria himself only allows you to play Thriller Bark, The Gekko Moria SR actually allows you to play any 4-drop from your trash, and that's going to make it the most dangerous when it comes to this deck. Tapping 8 to play a 4 cost or less and a 2 cost or less, and then choosing 1 to remain untapped and 1 to be tapped is just kind of nasty work. And with that being unrestricted, you open up the entire slew of black cards that are going to be able to be brought out with Gekko Moria. Right here, we've actually got Rebecca. Rebecca, you guys should all know and love or hate her, but she is a blocker. She gets to revive, or she gets to recycle something from between the cost of 3 and 7, so she can't touch Gekko Moria, but she can pretty much pick up most cards in the deck once they've hit the grave. And then she's going to be able to play a black character with 3 cost or less from your hand rested. So playing a Gekko Moria into a Rebecca is pretty insane. We also have Rob Gucci, and Rob Gucci is going to help you put cards back to the bottom of your deck, but he's also removal. Since he is a 4 cost, you can play him around cards like Perona, around cards like some of the ones we're going to get into, to get the same 2-for-1s that you are used to doing with Rob Lucci. Of course, you got Kuzan, and Kuzan's actually pretty cool too, because if you think about it, you're going to be able to play Gekko Moria as an 8 cost, then play Kuzan if you wanted to and draw a card, then play a 2 cost and put it into, you know, its rested position. This is a big card. Like, whenever you play Moria, you're just fishing bodies out of the grave and getting extra value. And then you've also got Borsellino. Being able to play an 8-drop and then play a card like Borsellino to make sure that you have a bit of a safety net in terms of staying alive after you've tapped out mostly is just horrendously good. And you're starting to see why this deck is so good. The moment you reach 8, you're just going to get bodies for bodies for bodies. Now, moving on to the next card, you've got Sabo, and Sabo is still just very good. Keeps your stuff from being destroyed. Not really that much of a help versus Sakazuki, but against fellow Moria decks can really stabilize your board. On top of that, he's going to draw 2, discard 2, filling up your trash and allowing you to set up for future Gekko Moria plays. Now, you're starting to see some of the cards that can be brought off of the second half of Gekko Moria, or even be played from your hand with Rebecca. And we are playing Brand New. Because Brand New is going to be able to pick up Borsellino, Kuzan, that's actually really it. He's really picking up Borsellino, Kuzan, and these next 2 cards, actually these next 4 cards that I'm going to get into. But if he puts something into the trash, it doesn't really matter, because you're just going to get these cards back. Unless you put a Gekko Moria in the trash, you're really not caring about whatever you put in the trash. And then there's cool points where you can do things like, okay, I'm going to play Gekko Moria. Gekko Moria is going to bring back Rebecca and Brand New. Rebecca is going to, you could like, so when 2 cards come into play, you're going to be able to choose how their on play effects resolve. So when Gekko Moria plays Rebecca and Brand New, you can choose Brand New to activate first, searching your top 3, putting 2 in the trash. Oh, one of those 2 in the trash are cards you want to get back from Rebecca. Use Rebecca to pick it back up. It is insane what these cards can do when you time them correctly and choose the correct sequence with Gekko Moria. Next, you got Hina, because you are still discarding a card with Gekko Moria's effect, and Rebecca can still bring Hina back for those classic moves. Just if you think about it, if you really want to go there, you can play something like, you know, Rebecca to bring back Hina to drop something down by -5 and then, or -4, and then you just play Lucci to blow it up along with a weenie. There's a lot of things you can do here, and some of these plays are not too hard to see. And then also you've got Helmeppo. Because Gekko Moria is able to play these things, you are still allowed to do stuff like this, and that is really just kind of the most savage part about it, really. You could play like a Gekko Moria, and Gekko Moria could be like, okay, well, I'm going to bring out Helmeppo, and I'm also going to bring out Helmeppo, and I'm going to bring out Lucci. And of course, they're coming in at the same time, so once again, you have the option to minus how you feel like, and you can destroy a 2-drop and a 4-drop, actually, if that lines up. Like, there's a lot of things that can happen with this deck, and I like it. That's cool. There's gonna be some grindy matches you guys are probably gonna have to test against. This is gonna be the deck to beat. Sakazuki and Gekko Moria are very strong next set. Yamato can kind of sneak in there, but there's a lot of cards that we're gonna be going over in the next couple weeks. Next, this shouldn't actually be much of a surprise to you. We've actually got Great Eruption, very, very strong card. And the cool thing about Great Eruption is that it's a 1 cost. So you can set up some very, very sick plays. Having 10 Dawn and using 1 Dawn to play Great Eruption, another Dawn to play Great Eruption again on something, and then doing something like, okay, tap 8 for Gekko Moria, bringing back Helmeppo and Rob Lucci. Helmeppo reduces something else by 3. Now it's a 1, or now it's a 2 cost from 5 to 2, whereas double Great Eruption has brought something from 5 to 1, and then Rob Lucci just destroys them both. There's a lot of nice combo play that you can do with these things, and that really, really changes the composition of this deck, and what black can do alone as a mono color in this set. And you've also got Ice Age, because if you really need to burn it, this is where it's at. Like I said, Ice Age being a 1 cost does a lot. You are able to have plays like, okay, well, I am going to Ice Age that big guy from a 5 or from a 6 to a 1, or better yet, from a 7 to a 2. I'll Ice Age from a 7 to a 2. Then I'm going to Great Eruption that thing from a 3, or from a, I think if I'm doing the math right, from a 6 to a 4. Then you just play Gekko Moria for 8, and then you bring back Helmeppo and Lucci, and Helmeppo goes, okay, -3. And then Rob Lucci destroys both these, the 7 drop and this other thing. It's just insane. It's insane. Like, that's all I have to say. It is insane what you can do with this deck. So eventually we're gonna have some gameplay up on the sim. I'm gonna be writing articles about all these things soon enough, but Gekko Moria really just is built different, and there's a lot of crazy plays that can go on. It is a deck that recycles like no other, and I thought we would never say that after we saw Sakazuki, but here's Gekko Moria proving us wrong. The ability to just drop things in the trash and know they're going to be used in some way. One of the best boss monsters ever been created in this game in the terms of Gekko Moria. Him not being leader locked, allowing him to also like buff Sakazuki as well. There's a lot going on in set 6, and I wanted to start off talking about Gekko Moria. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know, guys, how you feel about these Gekko Moria cards that you're seeing, and let me know if it's one of the decks that you're going to be considering playing the following format. With that being said, I'd like to wish you guys a great day. We should have 2 videos going up on this channel today, one for this one, and we're going to dive into an archetype for Fusion World and talk about that too. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. So let's go over to the Patreon appreciation bit, and I'll see you next time. Later. All right, welcome back to the Patreon appreciation bit of the video. And yeah, thank you guys for giving me the extra support to the channel, to the brand. This is gonna be where I put articles that are a little too long to stay on the channel in video form. We are about to dive into Uta this week, and on top of that, hopefully you have some good news to share with you guys after the Treasure Cup, but we are also going to be starting to dive into OP06 as well as giveaways, as well as Dragon Ball Super Fusion World. So look forward to that, guys. There's a lot going on here, and we are not stopping anytime soon. Last but not least, we're going to give a special shout out to the realm of Xers, the Briars, the Bricars, the Big Daddy Flapjacks. Thank you guys for being at the top of the Patreon tier, and yeah, I'm going to keep on doing what I can do. I will see you guys in the next video or article.